You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis. You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis. You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Good morning, Car Clinic affiliates. Your Car Clinic minutes for the week of January 28th, 2019 are about to head your way. So go ahead and press the record button. As always, thank you for broadcasting and listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Have a great weekend.
Hi, I'm Bobby Likis with another Car Clinic Minute. I didn't mean to. You've probably heard this defense from your vase-breaking child, but when I come back, we'll judge why this excuse won't work for you.
Race fans, the O'Reilly Auto Parts 500 at Texas Motor Speedway is Sunday, April 8th. And now you can earn a free O'Reilly Auto Parts 500 commemorative hat by mail. Just pick up a rebate form at O'Reilly Auto Parts and make a purchase of $25 or more. Or buy 5 quarts of any Pennzoil motor oil. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Kids are bound to have accidents, but when parents have them, the penalty could be much higher. Because unintentional injury is the #1 killer of kids, and a car crash, the most common unintentional injury-related death, become an expert witness in how to avoid this crime. Drive your browser to www.safekids.org, which shares safety data and recalls, offers seat inspection locations, and answers questions like, why replace child safety seats after a crash? Or, what are the top tethers for? In any case, the jury's not out on this one. Ignorance is no excuse for endangering a child's life. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us. Hi, I'm Bobby Likis with another Car Clinic Minute. More may be the plaintive cry of turbocharged consumers, but it's also the voice of your vehicle's engine. When I come back, I'll tell you what the automotive beast wants more of.
O'Reilly.
Race fans, the O'Reilly Auto Parts 500 at Texas Motor Speedway is Sunday, April 8th. And now you can earn a free O'Reilly Auto Parts 500 commemorative hat by mail. Just pick up a rebate form at O'Reilly Auto Parts and make a purchase of $25 or more. Or buy 5 quarts of any Pennzoil motor oil. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Like consumers burn products and services and beg for more, so do vehicle engines burn gas and air and beg for more. And just like credit limits restrict buying power, so do limitations on number and size of cylinders reduce automotive power. Okay, so how do hungry engines get their power fix? Turbochargers. Here's how one works. Trapped exhaust air spins a turbine, which then turns an air pump, which compresses air. This squeezed air takes up less room, so more can be shoved into an engine's cylinders. When more air meets gas, kapow! More energy or horsepower is created. Thankfully, aftermarket turbochargers are readily available to feed the consumer beast. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us. Hi, I'm Bobby Likis with today's Car Clinic Minute. Boy Scouts learn it to earn their Eagle badges. And if you know it, you may save a few Eagles of your own on dollar bills. Be prepared. When I come back, I'll tell you.
O'Reilly.
Race fans, the O'Reilly Auto Parts 500 at Texas Motor Speedway is Sunday, April 8th. And now you can earn a free O'Reilly Auto Parts 500 commemorative hat by mail. Just pick up a rebate form at O'Reilly Auto Parts and make a purchase of $25 or more. Or buy 5 quarts of any Pennzoil motor oil. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Being prepared helps save 2 rare species, money and life. Every year, 1 in 11 Americans is involved in an accident. So listen up. Carry a jack, spare tire, jumper cables, and learn how to use them. Know what's in your insurance policy and who to call. Keep a card listing medical conditions and allergies. Invest in a cell phone. 911 services could be the stitch in time that saves 9 lives, that is. Go ahead, make your Scoutmaster proud. Earn your merit badge as a highway hero. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us. Hi, I'm Bobby Likis with today's Car Clinic Minute. Breathe deeply. Get in touch with your inner self and tap into all that energy. Aha! You think I'm talking about yoga, but it's really about cars. When I come back, I'll rev you up.
O'Reilly.
Race fans, the O'Reilly Auto Parts 500 at Texas Motor Speedway is Sunday, April 8th. And now you can earn a free O'Reilly Auto Parts 500 commemorative hat by mail. Just pick up a rebate form at O'Reilly Auto Parts and make a purchase of $25 or more. Or buy 5 quarts of any Pennzoil motor oil. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Top performance in humans and in cars depends on oxygen intake. But how do you know if your car's getting enough? That's the job of close pin-sized gadgets called oxygen sensors. When in tip-top shape, these monitors measure oxygen in the exhaust, then signal onboard computers to adjust fuel-air ratios in the engine for complete combustion. But worn sensors give faulty cues, resulting in poor performance, higher emissions, and lower gas mileage. So check out those sensors. Then you and your car can breathe easy. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us. Hi, I'm Bobby Likis with today's Car Clinic Minute. Now there's another reason to look forward to Friday, the favorite day of the work week and aptly named for the Roman goddess of love. When we come back, I'll tell you why Friday's an automotive sweetheart.
O'Reilly.
Race fans, the O'Reilly Auto Parts 500 at Texas Motor Speedway is Sunday, April 8th. And now you can earn a free O'Reilly Auto Parts 500 commemorative hat by mail. Just pick up a rebate form at O'Reilly Auto Parts and make a purchase of $25 or more. Or buy 5 quarts of any Pennzoil motor oil. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Fridays are best known for winding down the work week and gearing up the weekend. But before you turn to the open road, Friday's also the best day to head for your service shop. Most repair facilities are busiest Monday through Thursday, tending to cars that break, often of cumulative neglect over the previous weekend. With a big rush over, technicians tend to spend more time, are more thorough, and pay extra attention to detail on Fridays. With some elected pre-repair on Friday, you'll fall in love with Mondays all over again. TGIF. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us.
Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 3-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 1 minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 30-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 10-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If you have a car question for Bobby, call now at 1-800-264-5454, toll free from anywhere in America. And now, here's your host, Bobby Likis.
And good morning, folks. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Sit back and ride along with me this hour, and we're going to talk, yeah, that's right, cars. I mean, wouldn't you know? Always from 10 till noon Eastern Time every Saturday, right here from the center of the automotive universe. It's you, me, and of course the handy-dandy telephone, which is how you get through to me. So if you have a car question, Hannah will take your call at 888 Car Clinic. That's 888-227-2546. Put you in the queue, and I'll put you on the air. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you this morning in part by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Make your tax refund go farther at O'Reilly Auto Parts. If you've been delaying much needed car repair or maintenance, delay no longer, folks. Spend a little of your tax refund on your vehicle now and avoid costly repairs down the road. O'Reilly Auto Parts has exactly what you need at a guaranteed low price. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day. Okay, let's get started. 888-227-2546. A big surprise, we have two Hannahs in the house. We have our Hannah. It will be leaving us, and she's going on with her other duties and her education. And we have a new Hannah that's going to be joining us. And so she's sort of watching Hannah work today. So call for Hannah and call for me at 227-2546. When I come back, I'll take your calls and share some cold weather driving tips. Don't touch that dial. This car repair spotlight brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. This week, a 91 Chevy pickup came in the shop with 354,000 miles. One issue was its clutch, slipping and making loud popping noises. Tommy, our ASE certified technician, removed the transmission and found all the usual suspects. Clutch plate, disc, throwout bearing, and flywheel destroyed. We reached out to our local O'Reilly Auto Parts professional, ordered all new parts. Easy enough. But on closer inspection, Tommy found the clutch fork pivot ball sockets worn out, causing the fork to pop sideways rather than roll over its fulcrum as designed. Another call to O'Reilly Auto Parts, but this time we weren't sure which fork to order. And that's where our O'Reilly Parts Pro stepped up. We gave him the trans number he asked for, and he delivered the correct fork in short order. Clutch fixed, Tommy happy, owner happy, all good. Another great reason our first call for parts is O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day. Cooling systems take a beating when it gets cold. We recently had a customer come in with a 3.5 Chrysler engine with a cracked head. Parts and labor totaled just under $3,000. We suggested K-Seal, and it worked. You've heard me talk about K-Seal before. It's a simple pour-in solution added directly to the radiator when cool. You then run the engine till the leak is stopped. K-Seal isn't just any stop leak. It's a certified leak repair and preventative formula designed and tested to stop cooling system leaks. K-Seal features a ceramic technology which makes it non-clogging but highly effective. Engine temps range from -20 to 220 above in just minutes. It's during these times that cracked blocks and heads fail. We've had customers who were ready to scrap their vehicles, then tried K-Seal and were able to continue driving their automobiles. Log on to K-Seal for more information, including videos and the many different applications. Don't just seal it, K-Seal it. That's kseal.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Rosie Outfitters, I'm Tina. How can I help you?
I'd like to place an order.
Great. Which item?
The cotton roll neck sweater, large.
Okay. Periwinkle, Loden, or caramel?
The caramel, please.
The what?
I'd like it in caramel.
Oh, the caramel?
Yeah, that's what I said, Tina.
Actually, you said caramel when it's pronounced caramel.
Can't we just call it yellow?
No.
Everyone knows the best part of a Milky Way. They just don't know how to say it. After all, it's our caramel.
It's caramel.
Ugh, that makes a Milky Way great.
You start my morning, you stir in my soul, you warm my heart, make me feel whole. Your aroma calls me, starts my morning, happy morning. Your name is Folgers Mountain Grown, now you're here. Your aroma helps me wake and the day is mine to take. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Okay, let's get started with today's broadcast. Remember, every Saturday from 10 till noon, right here from the center of the automotive universe, we come to you and I really share with you. It's ironic because this is what I really love to do, so it's not like work, but I share with you information and about repairs and services that we perform not only this past week, but over the past 47 years. That's right, 27 years here on Bobby Likis Car Clinic Network, and 47 years Bobby Likis Car Clinic Pre-Repair. And Pre-Repair is a service plan that we created, folks, that is the prevention of repair. And as much as I know that a doctor would like to cure cancer, in my lifetime, I'd like to cure breakdowns in automobiles. Now that's a little different, but by the same token, from a mindset standpoint, that's where my philosophy lies, is that we created a program called Pre-Repair, which is for the prevention of repair. And basically that's a servicing of the lifebloods, the fluids of your automobile from bumper to bumper before the vehicle breaks down. And what does that do? It keeps the engine cleaner, keeps the transmission, the power steering, the differential, the brake system, all of the body fluids, so to speak, that protect that vehicle, stop it from freezing like antifreeze. Now, is there a difference between antifreeze and coolant? No. It's coolant in the summer because it helps the engine run cool. It's antifreeze in the winter because it helps the engine from freezing up. So basically, it's the same thing. And now there are different colors, but color doesn't matter. And most all antifreezes are ethylene glycol in base, so they all basically do the same job. There's different, pH factors, and therein lies the real secret. Oh, hey, why don't we do this? I have a question here from Jim that is a Watch Bobby Live viewer, and so I'm going to ask about a turbo of a Fiat, and I'll answer that. But first, I want to share with you a few things about oil and oil filters, in fact, Wix filters. But here's a trivia question that I think you'll enjoy. And so for every person who calls in, we're going to put your name in the hat. And at the end of today's broadcast, which is, it's a 2-hour broadcast, so at the end of next hour, we'll draw a name out of the hat, and I'll send that person, you perhaps, a Car Clinic prize pack. Here's the number, 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-2546. What's the trivia question? Oh, I thought you'd never ask. For every person that calls, which part of an oil filter is the most expensive? Now think about it. Now you guys don't get ahead of yourself here, but think about it. Which part of and we're talking about a spin-on oil filter, which is typical for that almost all the cars use, although there are different canister parts, but the spin-on filter. So is it the wrap can? You know, the can where you see like the Wix brand and that's painted, and that's the branding of the filter. That's the thin metal part that forms the shape of the canister. So is it that part that's the most expensive? Think about it. Or is it the top where the steel part is threaded, that's thick and has holes in it where the oil goes through, where that screws onto the engine block? So is that the most expensive? Or is it the media inside? Or is it the check valve and pop-off valve assembly? What's a pop-off valve? All filters, of course, a filter filters media. It filters trash. Hopefully there's no trash in your engine, but there always is. So the filter then traps these particles down to about average 30 micron in size. So when the filter gets plugged or overfilled, then it can potentially restrict the flow of oil through the engine. So the quality manufacturers like Wix install what's called a relief valve or pop-off valve. Here's the challenge with pop-off valves, even for Wix. If you run a filter long enough that it gets so restricted that the pop-off valve pops off, let's say you crank the car up and race it up in the morning, which you should never do, but I mean, you know, we're all just drivers and car owners, so you would do that, then all of that sludge that has been held back would go right into the engine. Of course, the good news is you can run an engine with a little, you know, trash in it, but you can't run an engine with no oil circulation, so that's why a pop-off valve. Hopefully, you won't have to go there because you'll change your oil and filter in due course. And what's due course? Well, 5,000 miles. 3,000 miles, believe it or not, 3,000-mile oil changes are still in vogue depending on what you use your car for. Now, I'd like to get back to Wix. Wix Filters is a global manufacturer of filtration products celebrating, that's right, this month, 80 years of innovation, expert engineering, and commitment to high-quality filtration. And I couldn't say it any better than Jim Blocher. And Jim is there, the sales director for Wix, and I quote, "Wix still boasts the same mission in 2019 as it did 8 decades ago," that's 80 years, folks, "to provide customers with premium quality filters designed to exceed their performance demands. To our customers, Wix Filters means a product they can trust every day. It's a product they can sell with integrity and believe in," end quote. And that's Jeff Blocher from Wix Filters, and we provide our customers, and have for years, Wix Filters. And ironically, Wix also boxes filters for a lot of companies. So you may be using a Wix filter and not know it. For more information, go to wixfilters.com, and a hats off to Wix Filters for supporting their community. They're in Gastonia, North Carolina, where their headquarters. I have been there. I've actually watched a filter be tested under high pressure. 300 psi
this filter was subjected to extreme pressures beyond that until it got to the point that it blew up. And folks, let me tell you something. When you see a filter that has expanded and blown up, it gets larger and larger and larger. And then when a seam splits or whatever part goes, south with enough pressure, that filter still retains that blown out of proportion look. So if you've ever talked to anyone that said, oh, I lost my engine to an oil filter that stopped up, take a look at the filter, because the filter is very telling. In fact, manufacturers know how to test their products that supposedly are defective. I don't know if you've ever had a defective oil filter. I actually did have one filter one time that cost me an engine, but it was because I put the wrong filter on the engine. And I didn't read the print, and it was for a 427 high-performance engine, and that was actually my fault. It wasn't the filter's fault. But isn't this like life? You learn as you go along. Okay, let's take your calls at 888-227-2546. Hannah will take your call, put you in the queue. Remember, we'll put your name in the hat, and for every person that would like to have a Car Clinic gift pack, well, then by all means, it's time for you to call now. 888-227-2546. Okay, here's a question from Jim Morgan. He's a live listener and viewer. He says, Bobby, do you know if the 1.6-liter turbocharged engine in the Fiat 124 Spider is reliable? The vehicle is assembled at the Makata plant in Japan. I'm considering purchasing this vehicle. Thanks, Jim. I have to say this about that, Jim. The way that Italians drive Fiats in Italy and France and in Europe proves the reliability of the engine, because it's called, two words, flat out. And I have been there, and I can tell you the Fiat is a very popular car. The turbo engine is a common engine to have in Italy. In fact, long before we, and when I say we, I'm going to say, when I think of turbocharged engines and I think of one of my favorite engines, it's the Ford Ecoboost. I mean, think about it. A 3.5 V6 turbo engine, a dual turbo engine, that puts out 415 horsepower. I mean, think about that. A V6, in fact, it hasn't been that long ago that if you had a Ford pickup and it did not have a V8, that was sacrilege, but no more. Just like Harley, when Harley came out with a radiator-cooled motorcycle. Oh, what is this? But that's new technology. And so Ford came out with the EcoBoost and the V6 and the turbo. So I said all that to say that in Europe, of course, these engines use synthetic oil, and as most engines do use synthetic oil today. So these particular smaller engines produce a lot of horsepower, and they produce as much horsepower as their V8 counterparts did. And so that's almost amazing to think about. How does that happen? Well, an engine breathes, like, I'll take a breath here. Sooner or later, I'll take a breath. And so the bottom line, when the engine breathes, the atmospheric pressure forces air into that piston area as the piston goes down. And depending on how large the piston is and how much low pressure it can produce going down is how much atmospheric pressure can get in. The more atmospheric pressure you can get on top of the piston, the more power. So how do we get more atmospheric pressure? Well, you don't go to Denver because it's 5,000 feet in the air. You stay on the Gulf Coast. Or you put a turbocharger and you force air in. There's the secret. More secrets, your calls when I come back at 888-227-2546. Let's go.
Entertainment, GPS, heated seats, backup cameras, and start-stop technology. Just a few of the electrical demands we put on today's vehicles. AGM or absorbent glass mat batteries are up to the challenge. They're precision engineered to offer the ultimate combination of power, durability, and reliability. What affects battery performance? Harsh climates, frequent stopping, and aggressive driving all put wear on your battery. With its compressed cell design and glass mat separators, AGM batteries are built to excel in these types of conditions. Learn more about AGM advantages at autobatteries.com.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
The months between October and February top the list for accidents, damage, and injuries. And while safety technology on today's vehicles is great, it's no match for Mother Nature. CarStar is the authority on winter driving accidents, repairing thousands of vehicles each year damaged in snowy, icy conditions. Here are a few winter driving tips courtesy of CarStar. Check visibility. Add de-icer to your windshield washer fluid. Make sure your wipers are free of ice and all mirrors are clear, and check vehicle lighting. Slow down and stay back. Drop your speed to a safe limit and leave extra distance between your vehicle and the one in front of you. And if your rear wheels skid, take your foot off the accelerator and steer in the direction you want your front wheels to go. If your front wheels skid, take your foot off the gas and shift to neutral. As you skid sideways, the vehicle will slow and traction will return. Find more safety tips at carstar.com. At CarStar, they don't just repair cars, they repair your car.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
The airlines like to have sales. Summer getaway sales, holiday sales, winter sales. Truth is, at any moment, some airline somewhere is on sale with low fares to great destinations. Travelocity knows exactly what's going on, who's on sale, to where, and when, at over 700 airlines worldwide. We even have this nifty feature that lets you look at a calendar so that you can see exactly the days the great fares are available. Travelocity.com. Go virtually anywhere. AOL keyword, travel.
Hun, guess my temperature.
It's 2 a.m. Go to sleep.
Come on, one guess.
Higher, 98.
Higher.
Higher, 99.
You're getting warmer. Wait, I'm getting warmer.
Cold symptoms keeping you from getting a good night's sleep? Get NyQuil, the nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever so you can sleep better to feel better medicine. Use as directed.
One more guess.
100?
Yes. Tell her what she's won, Bob.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Okay, so what would you think would be the most expensive part of an oil filter? But in the meantime, we're going to put your name in a hat and we'll pick a winner. But let's go to Charlie. You were the first to call in. Charlie, good morning. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Good morning, Bobby. Great program as usual.
Thank you.
Just a quick question.
Sure.
I just heard you talking about when you should do an oil change, and you said, 5,000 or 3,000 in certain circumstances. So my work truck is a 2015 Chevy 3500. Weighs on average about 9,000 pounds when it's got all the gear in it. Currently, I'm doing oil changes when it says, hey, look, your oil needs changing. But listening to what you were saying, I do on average about 4,700 miles per month.
Okay.
Should I be changing the oil at 5,000 or 3,000, or just keep doing whenever the truck says I need to change it?
Well, in your case, as long as you're using, and of course you're probably using Dexos spec oil, which is a synthetic, you could go 7,500 miles. There are some companies like Royal Purple that advocate a 12,000 mile change. So if I were you, Charlie, there are two trains of thought here. You can go 7,500 miles and change the oil and the filter using synthetic oil. Mobil One's is a known brand, and that will meet all specifications. I say full synthetic. You have to be careful because it's not really full synthetic, but synthetics have the base stock is all different. But that's for a little technical. But yep. I would change the oil every 7,500 miles. I would let the 9,000 mile in my mind or 8,000 mile be the choke. In other words, that guilty point. But because you use this in work, and because it's on the road daily, that's good and bad. The good news is you keep the engine up warm. And the oil likes to stay hot and likes to stay warm. It cooks out the condensation. Versus somebody that only drives 5,000 miles a year, they get a lot of condensation because the oil never stays hot enough long enough to cook out the condensation. Having said that, I would change the oil in the filter every 7,500 miles if I owned that truck. Now, you could go as much as 12,000 miles but I'd like for you to change the filter at 6,000. And that's probably more work than what people are willing to do. We had a program that's called a top off, and we used to change the oil at the filter at 5,000 and top off the crankcase. And then we would change the oil and the filter at 10,000 miles. I basically did that. That was 15 years ago because people weren't willing to spend the money on expensive synthetic oil in this country versus, you know, Europe, where 50%, I mean, when we were using 3% of our population was using synthetic oil, only 3%, more than 50% of all Europeans use synthetic oil. They got it, they get it. So for you, I'm going to prescribe 7,500 mile oil changes, oil and filter change, be done with it. Any questions?
Just one thing. That's fine. So, do you happen to know roughly, is that 7,500 miles when it says, hey, look, you need to change your oil?
No. Do not believe that GM. Let me explain just quickly. The percentage of life left in an oil uses algorithms. There is no sensor in the oil. If you were to drain, if you had a vehicle that you had 5,000 miles on the oil and instead you had 80% left of your engine of oil life, 80% left in the oil, and you drain the oil out of that engine, of course, and ran the engine, you would destroy the engine, but the algorithm would still say 80% because it's based on algorithms based on temperature of engine, throttle opening, speed, and all of the other factors that have to do with the usage of that batch of oil, except, and get this, so here's GM that can go anywhere from 9,000 to 20,000 miles, historically, when they first came out with the algorithm and the light that gave you the percentage. But know this, every GM car since 2013, when it reaches 7,500 miles, that algorithm will go from 80% or 70% to 0%. So let's say that you lived on the Gulf Coast of Florida and you've got 7,450 miles on your automobile and you're going to go to Panama City. You get 50 miles from Pensacola. Now you got 7,500 miles on your vehicle. You left and you were going to change the oil, but you said, no, it still shows I've got 60%. You go 50 miles, it reaches 7,500 miles, all of a sudden your percentage goes to 0. And you say, well, how's that possible? I've only been 50 miles. It's because GM first created that formula, that algorithm, using the mileage and time, but they learned that, hey, wait a minute, this doesn't work for everybody. So we're gonna let people play with this, or so to speak, but at 7,500 miles, draw the line, change your oil. So that's just a little bit of information for everyone that drives a GM car. When you reach 7,500 miles, even if you are just 100 miles away and you've got 50% life left, it's going to go to 0 because you should change it at 7,500. You got it?
Yep, that makes sense.
Okay,
that's
my friend.
Exactly what I thought. I just needed a second brain.
Well, okay, there you go. I'll be your second brain anytime, Charlie. And Hannah's going to put you back on hold if you didn't give her your number, and we'll put your name in the hat so that we can contact you. So, Hannah, just make sure you do that. Next caller we're going to take is from, is this Wyoming? That's Wyoming, right, Bernard?
Yes, sir. Hi.
Hi. Well, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Well, how cold is it in Wyoming?
It's not bad.
Well,
Wyoming's a nice place to live.
Ah, great. Well, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Glad you called in. What can I do for you?
Yeah, I've got two questions. The first one is partial synthetic oil. I use oil that Phillips 66 makes. And when I talk to them and I talk to other people, they say that the synthetic partial, you get about 70% of the value of full synthetic. Do you believe that?
Well, no, there's no 70%. Here's the equation. The difference between synthetic and conventional oil is the base stock. In a quart of oil, Bernard, regardless of the manufacturer, whether it's Mobil 1 or Castrol or Redline or Royal Purple or what you name it, the base stock is about 75 to 85% of that quart of oil. And all of the oil companies use the same base stock. That base stock is crude that has been refined and re-refined, and there's one major difference between conventional oil and synthetic oil. In a conventional oil, all the molecules are a hodgepodge, a different size. So let's just say, for illustrative, demonstrative purposes, let's just say that you have a basket of fruit, and you have peaches and cherries and apples and a watermelon, and you're going to pour the fruit out of the basket. Well, you know it's going to, some's going to fall out and bloop, bloop, it's going to be clumpy. That's what happens with conventional oil in cold weather. It doesn't travel through the engine smoothly because it's all different size molecules, as opposed to synthetic oil where the base stock is all same size molecules. When you have all same size molecules, like all cherries or all peas or all the same size, the flow through the engine is faster, smoother, and that's why in cold country you better use synthetic, because you have to have the oil moving rapidly through the nooks and crannies that are really tiny spaces today as compared to 20 years ago. So the difference between conventional and synthetic is the base stock. Now, a Valvoline Durablend, and I used that, I don't know how many years. I love that oil because Durablend was a blend of, and I think that, what was the brand of oil that you're talking about?
Phillips 66.
Phillips, okay. So I perceive and I imagine that the Phillips 66 is also a blended oil where they take conventional oil and they use full synthetic additive. Now, the additive packages in oil is where the individual manufacturers can make their claims, and that's where the money is spent. The crude is crude, and the crude is refined, and so the base stock is all the same. But it's where that additive package, and a lot of those additives are no longer, a lot of racing packages are not even legal for the street, like ZDDP, zinc, phosphorus. Those are anti-friction and friction fighter materials that, according to the EPA, can damage a catalytic converter, so therefore they can't be used in oil. So for you, if it's working for you, you can continue to use what you use. A blended synthetic certainly is a less inexpensive, or is an inexpensive way to use a synthetic product. But for me, oil is so cheap anyway. I like the straight synthetic. Be careful when you hear somebody say, or beware, full synthetic. Can you imagine the cost of a quart of oil if a lab had to make the whole quart of oil out of whatever it is, polymers and polyester and whatever those other chemicals that are made? So again, just for you to know, Bernard, the advantage of synthetic is its pumpability and fluid flow through the engine. And when you first fire the engine up, that's where the engine wear is first occurs. And so I would recommend a synthetic. Any questions?
No, that's a good description. I thought synthetic was made out of a lot of it.
Yeah, I know.
Natural gas.
Yeah, but it's well, yeah, there are companies that advertise that, but the bottom line, synthetic is crude out of the ground, refined, and then re-refined so that it gets, in fact, you could refine oil probably 5 times. At the end of that you'd have aircraft oil. It'd be gold, but it would cost you as much as gold too. So we as consumers are only willing to pay X amount, and if something's really good, how much better is better? We all, for some reason, as we grow up in life, and I don't know about you, but I did this. I landed on a certain brand of oil, and I said, "Oh, this is the best oil in the world." There is no such thing as the best oil in the world. I mean, there really isn't. There's a spec that manufacturers create for oil to meet their spec to protect their engines, and if you use that oil, it's going to protect your engine. It's how you change the oil and do other things and care for your car that really makes a difference. Hey, Bernard, we're going to put your name in the hat too. And folks, coming up, Laura Adams is a safety analyst for Driver's Ed. You should just check out driversed.com. Better yet, stay tuned. When I come back, Laura's going to be in the house with me, and we're going to talk about fake news. What? Yeah, really. Don't touch that dial. I'm Bobby Likis. Likis, you'll love us. We recently sat down with Kate Searlick, Global Product Management Lead with Johnson Controls. Kate talked about the advantages of AGM batteries, noting they outperform traditional flooded batteries when partially charged, a key benefit if your normal driving consists of shorter trips. Let's hear from Kate.
Today's charging systems are not negatively affected by installing an AGM battery, and no modifications are needed for the alternator or the charging system. In fact, an AGM battery actually performs better when partially charged than a standard flooded battery. This means if you're not driving long enough distances to fully charge the battery, an AGM battery more efficiently performs and not consume additional power from the alternator. We were able to validate this in fleet testing we conducted in Las Vegas, where we witnessed AGM batteries providing up to twice the service life of a standard flooded battery.
AGM batteries help meet the electrical demands put on today's vehicles, and Johnson Controls is the world's largest producer of automotive AGM batteries. Learn more at autobatteries.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Waking up can be a chore, but mornings knocking on my front door. Know just what I'll do. Put on a pot of Folgers brew. Mountain grown aroma hits the spot. Helps me give all that I've got. An opportunity to start out smiling and happy. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
I'm privileged to be involved with Capstone Adaptive Learning, formerly known as United Cerebral Palsy, for over 25 years. Since 1953, Capstone has provided quality care programs for persons with developmental disabilities like autism, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, and intellectual disabilities. Dr. Sherry White with her team are dedicated to Capstone's clients, and 100% of your contributions stay local to serve those in this community. Go to capstoneadaptivelearning.org to see the difference Capstone makes.
Technology moves at the speed of innovation, and today, that's lightning fast. So when you get your hands on the latest tech, don't forget to do the right thing with your old devices. Recycle them. The Consumer Technology Association and its members are making recycling your old tech device as easy as purchasing new ones. Just go to greenergadgets.org, type in your zip code, and you'll instantly find the responsible recycling location closest to your home. You'll also find lots of tips to simplify your recycling, like asking the store where you buy your new TV if they'll haul away your old one. Television sets, video game consoles, smartphones, tablets, they're all recyclable. Don't let them clog up your local landfill. Just visit greenergadgets.org. You're sharp enough to get the latest tech tools into your home. Now be responsible enough to get your old devices to the recycler. That's greenergadgets.org.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Great show today. Call us at 888 Car Clinic and I'll answer your car questions. A special guest on the hotline with us now is Laura Adams, safety analyst at Drivers Ed. Laura will tell us about the fake auto news study just released. The study, as I understand, folks, was conducted by driversed.com, the leading online driving school in the U.S., and unveils data on an array of myths, including those about insurance, car maintenance, and winter driving. I can't wait to hear what's going on. Laura, welcome back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
A quick overview. Remind our Car Clinic listeners and viewers about driversed.com.
DriversEd.com is the #1 online driving school. We've got courses offered directly online and through partners all around the United States. So whether you're a brand new driver looking to pass your permit test, or maybe you need to go to traffic school because you got a ticket or a moving violation, or even a mature driver who's looking to beef up your skills and get an insurance discount, there's something for everybody. And of course, we also have in-car lessons if you need some help with one-on-one, teacher anywhere throughout the country.
I think anyone that's ever driven always could stand a refresher course. But let's move into the Fake Auto News 2019 study and a look at the common driving myths. Share that information with us.
Some interesting facts came out of the recent driversed.com study. We really wanted to find out what types of myths and misunderstandings are out there related to driving, and some of the things that we found were pretty interesting. One that really stood out to me has to do with marijuana use. 24% of the survey respondents are actually unaware that driving while impaired by marijuana is illegal in all 50 states. So while it is certainly becoming, more prevalent and legal in certain states for both medical and recreational use, we definitely need to get the word out that it is illegal to drive after ingesting or smoking marijuana. So that's one that was a bit shocking for me.
I have to agree. In fact, as I was listening to you explain that, it's hard to believe that there are people that would think that that's legal, and even more so hard to believe that for people to think that it's okay, whether it's legal or not. But let's shift gears and get into the mechanics of the automobile. You know, people think they have to warm their engines up before driving in cold weather. What's the study show?
Yes, we found 67% falsely believe that in cold weather, warming up your car before driving is good for the engine. And this is definitely, I think, a myth that just gets passed down, from maybe parent to child. And the reality is your car does not need to be warmed up. If you have a newer vehicle, the car is automatically adjusting for the temperature. So if you are letting your car just sit idle for, 30 minutes or even 15 minutes before getting in, it's really not helping the vehicle. It's probably just wasting gas. So the best way to warm up your vehicle is really just to get in and drive it.
I couldn't agree more. Well, but let's also shift gears again and share with us some better tactics for driving and how to take care of your car in cold weather.
Yeah, so this time of year is really tough on our vehicles. Most people don't realize that the cold weather is going to weaken belts and hoses. It's certainly going to deflate your tires. There are other issues going on in the cold weather that you just may not even be aware of. I recommend that folks take their vehicle to a mechanic and have a look over. In a lot of cases, it's not anything expensive that might need to be done. It could be just topping off some fluids, checking things like antifreeze, checking your windshield wiper fluid, putting on new wiper blades, making sure those tires are at the right pressure, some things like that really don't cost much but are going to make you a lot safer on the road.
Well, it makes a lot of sense. We're talking with Laura Adams, safety analyst for Drivers Ed. So, Laura, what are some unexpected ways that a poor driving record can negatively impact a driver, and what are some tools that can be used to counteract that?
Yeah, many people don't realize that if you've got some unpaid traffic tickets, they really can come back to haunt you. They're not going to go away, whether you think they're valid or just, don't want to pay them. If they do go into collections, they are going to end up on your credit record, and that can really harm your credit score. That can really ripple through many aspects of your financial life. So it could mean that it's going to negatively affect your prospects for a new job. It could hurt your ability to get an apartment, and of course could cause you to pay higher rates on credit accounts. So there's just a lot of ways that these tickets can come back to hurt you, and of course if you don't pay, your license could be suspended or revoked depending on your history. So if you've got any unpaid tickets out there, this is the time to turn your attention and get them cleaned up.
Yeah, I'll tend for that. Let's just talk briefly about driversed.com. You and your associates share with our Car Connect listeners and viewers why it's so important to do studies of American drivers and their habits.
Yeah, we really wanted to find out what is going on with drivers. What are their common beliefs and misconceptions, and trying to get some of the statistics out to raise awareness about some of the issues that are just really misunderstood, whether it has to do with the law or actual vehicles and maintenance of vehicles. So this is a time when we just try to encourage people to understand what is the truth, what is fake versus the truth, and to use that information a little bit better to improve your life and also your finances.
So, Laura, in closing, what are some other unexpected facts that driversed.com has uncovered in previous studies?
Yeah, we have found all kinds of interesting things. One that really is a bit disturbing has to do with distracted driving. We found that 73% of driversed.com survey respondents admit to reading texts while they're driving. 54% admit to typing texts while they're driving. So this is a really this is a problem, no matter what time of year it is, and it's something that we're really battling. Seems like distracted driving is on the rise. So any information that we can get out there to help people realize that it is a problem, hopefully will change behavior. And if you're not one of those people that is using your phone to talk or text while you're driving, be aware that, of course, many people around you are, and it's going to affect the way that they drive. And so you've got to be a more defensive driver, knowing that folks around you are probably pretty distracted.
So, Laura, last question, if I may. When a Car Clinic listener or viewer goes to driversed.com, what will they see? And walk us through just a brief 30,000-foot overview of your website.
Yes, at driversed.com, you're going to see a variety of course offerings, and they do vary depending by the state where you live. So it's a little different because the laws in each state are different, so the education is tailored by state. So no matter if you're a brand new driver, maybe you're a teen who's looking to practice for your permit test, that's a good place to start. Many people don't know that 70% of people actually fail their permit test the first time. So getting a little extra education before you take it can definitely save you time. Also, many people don't realize that taking an education course can actually reduce your auto insurance rates. So this is just a great way to keep your rate down and also boost your education and your skills at the same time. So I would encourage folks to take a look at those courses, and there's also a lot of great resources there to help both parents and young drivers just really learn how to be safer on the road, so you can build a foundation of driving and just be a safer driver throughout your entire life. That's our mission at driversed.com.
Laura Adams, safety analyst, Driver's Ed. Laura, thank you so much for joining us again today on Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Always great to have you in the house.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure.
What a nice lady she is. She's always so elegant and so factual. driversed.com. Take a look and drive over to, no pun intended, driversed.com and take a look at their site. 888-227-2546. Your calls. Hannah will take your call, put you in the queue. If you just tuned in during our time with Laura there from a safety analyst from Driver's Ed, I wanted you to know that we've got a little trivia fun going on this morning. Which part of an oil filter is the most expensive? It's not a trick question. So, and what parts are there about an oil filter? So let me help you. And for someone that calls in, everyone that calls in will put your name in a hat, and we're going to draw a name out of the hat at the end of the show, which will be about 55 after the hour, next hour, and I'll send you a surprise, and it'll be something really cool, something nice. Don't know what it's going to be yet, but as we always do, we'll pick something that I would like to have, and we'll give it away. So the parts of an oil filter are the canister, which is, and we're talking about a spin-on oil filter here. That's the metal part where you'll see like Wix, if it has a brand on it, it'd be a Wix filter. Or the lid, which called the cap end, which is the steel end that actually screws onto the engine block. It's a heavy-duty metal. It's very thick. It is the structural rigidity of the filter, and that has the threaded part and screws onto the engine block, or the media inside, which is the filter paper or in whatever they use. Could be glass mat, could be, depends on the manufacturer, whether it's a synthetic filter or if it's a standard filter. And also it could be the pop-off valve and spring assembly, which is a bypass valve and spring assembly. So that's, there's only 3 or 4 choices there. It's not rocket science, but you might be surprised. Let's go to Nebraska. Ron, thank you for holding. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hello, Bobby. This is Ron and Kearney, and thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you. I'll tell you, I love my Kearney folks. My Kearney Fix, I look forward to my Kearney Fix every Saturday. And I've had the official transfusion when I came out with Kappa ethanol one year, and I have friends there. I'll tell you, Jerry Erickson and his wife. We had a great weekend, and he has a lot of classic cars. You know, the Central Nebraska Car Club, as you well know, hasn't been, I don't know, a couple of months ago. You guys had your annual event with over 600 cars there. But what can I do for you, Ron?
Well, what I'm looking at, Bobby, is on my 2004 Granger. I changed the oil December of 2017, and it's a 520 Napa synthetic. Right. I've only put 3,000 miles on it. So the question is, time or miles before I change it again?
Well, that's a good question. Here we are. We're just early night. 17, you said. Oh, annually? 12 months?
Yes.
Annually. But you should go annual. If you're only 3,000 miles into that change, you should forget the mileage and go anniversary date. So pick an anniversary date. Maybe your wedding anniversary, or maybe your birthday. But pick something special and say, "Oh, this is special," and then you could, you could hook that to your marriage anniversary, and that would be a really cool thing. Your wife would say, "What are you going to get us for anniversary?" And you say, "I'm going to change the oil in my car."
And that way, I would remember.
Yeah. Well, hey, it works. It works for me. In fact, I'm coming up on my silver anniversary.
Oh my!
Yeah.
Well, we're going to push 40, and so I hope you pass the century mark.
Well, I thank you very much for that. I appreciate that, and I wish the right thing back to you. So let me ask a question. You drive approximately 3,000 miles a year in this car, then, in this truck.
That's about it.
Yeah. Well, you're using a good grade of oil. Napa doesn't make oil, by the way, as you know.
Okay.
They I don't know who's making it for them, but as long as it has the Starburst, which is the API, American Petroleum Industry Starburst, on it, which I'm sure that it has, then it will meet the specifications of the new cars, and of course it must meet the specifications. You've got a 2000 automobile, so your car is rather old. Has it been a good car for you?
Oh, it's been a really good truck, actually. No faults.
Well, I'll venture to say this as we say goodbye. I'll venture to say that you are probably a good car owner, and you probably have never had an engine to go south or break down on you. And a lot of that comes from, I have people calling in from all over the world. It's, one gentleman, he says he's got 386,000 miles on his whatever it is, and it's got a little misfire. What do you think's wrong with it? And I can remember, it hasn't been that long ago, when if you had 50,000 miles on a small block Chevrolet, you had to pull the heads off because the valve guides were worn out. But that's just not the case any longer. Hey, Ron, thank you so much for your call. We're going to put your name in the hat, and maybe you'll...
Okay.
You want to guess it's what's the most expensive part of the filter? Nobody's done that yet.
My guess, I didn't make the guess, but I'm in the hat, and it would be the spin-on part, the heavy metal that is machine threaded.
Well, we'll keep that in mind, and you stay tuned to the end of the show, and hopefully KGFW there in Kearney.
That's right.
Yeah, we'll air the second hour too. Hey, Ron, thank you so much for your call and your confidence, and hats off to you. Appreciate you.
Okay, likewise, Bobby.
Bye-bye now. So, folks, if you want to know why I come in on Saturdays, that's why I come in on Saturdays. It's just so really terrific, and in fact, we've got another great hour coming up, and we're going to carry the trivia over, like I said. So, what is the most expensive now? The first guess, and I sort of didn't handle this right because I haven't asked people what their guess was the big part, the metal part of the filter. And that may be right. It may not be right. You just have to stick around and find out. And in the second hour coming up. And for those of you who may not get the second hour, you can go to watchbobbylive.com, and we're there in full force in video HD on our YouTube channel, courtesy of our combination with Google. I'm Bobby Likis. Thanks for tuning in this hour. Likis, you'll love us.
This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
Winter is an especially important time to be car care aware. Here are a few suggestions courtesy of the Car Care Council. Days are shorter, so make sure interior and exterior lights are working properly. Best way to warm your engine? Drive gently at the start. Double check your emergency kit and don't forget your ice scraper and snow brush. For more great tips, visit carcare.org. And while you're there, order your free copy of the Car Care Guide for your glove box. That's carcare.org. Berryman's B12 Chem Tool features HEST, or High Energy Solvent Technology. Using a combination of stronger solvents, HEST technology helps maximize one-tank cleanup of intake valves, fuel injectors, carburetors, and combustion chambers. But don't take our word for it. According to Stephen B., Berryman products have been part of my automotive care and maintenance program since 1996. From additives and cleaners to sealants, Berryman products are a must for any gearhead and automotive enthusiast. Learn more about Berryman B12 Chem Tool and other great products at berrymanproducts.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
If you're familiar with the cultivated section of the newspaper, you probably understand this message quite well. You see, in the cultivated section, everything gets abbreviated. Consonants, vowels, prepositional phrases, the very building blocks of our language are thrown right out the window. And that makes it difficult when you're trying to sell your car. You've got a limited amount of space to work with, and by the time you abbreviate the description of your car down to a couple of fragmented sentences, it sounds less like a car and more like a Bluck sedan with sniffed like new condition lemals. No wonder more people are selling their cars through eBay Motors. They can post unlimited text and photo descriptions, and with a nationwide marketplace, they're likely to sell it for more. Plus, both parties can be covered by eBay's vehicle protection program. Buyers are happy, sellers are happy, and no one's abbreviating. eBay Motors, a better way to sell your car.
Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 3-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 1-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 30-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 10-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If you have a car question for Bobby, call now at 1-800-264-5454, toll free from anywhere in America. And now, here's your host, Bobby Likis.
And good morning. Welcome to this hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic, brought to you by K-Seal in part. K-Seal, the one-step permanent multi-purpose system for coolant leak repair, including head gaskets, engine blocks, water pumps, and radiators. Learn more at kseal.com. And if you have an older car and it develops a head gasket and it's going to cost you more to fix the car than what the car is worth, your first choice would be to go to K-Seal. You can pick it up at O'Reilly Auto Parts and add K-Seal to the cooling system, drive it 15 minutes, and its work will be done. And then you can call me and tell me how great I am that I suggested that for you and saved you a lot of money. Okay, let's get started. Hannah will take your calls at 888-227-2546. We have a little trivia going on this hour. In fact, we're going to choose a winner of a prize pack. And I'm not sure what's in the prize pack, but you will not be disappointed. So for everyone that comes in, calls in, gets on the air, has a car question. Unless we run out of time, we'll still put your name in the hat. But we're going to put everyone's name in the hat and choose a name at the 55 after this hour. Which part of an oil filter is the most expensive? Now, here, the housing, canister, the oil filter media, the heavy-duty metal top, are the part that is the bypass. 888-227-2546. It's not rocket science, but it's not simple. I'll be back. This car repair spotlight brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. This week, we had an F-150 in with 125,000 miles and extreme brake noise. Our inspection determined it needed new pads, rotors, and one wheel bearing. So we reached out to our local O'Reilly Auto Parts professional, ordered the Brake Best pads and the Brake Best Select rotors. We chose the Brake Best Select rotors because they're factory painted, which stops the normal rust and corrosion seen on rotor hardware. During the brake job, we made sure to treat the caliper slides with Seal Glide so the calipers move freely, pads wear evenly, and the brake pedal has that firm feel. Disc brakes can feel a bit spongy when the caliper has any corrosion or rust buildup. Bottom line, new brakes should work just like the vehicle's brakes did when it came off the showroom floor. This F-150's owner was happy to have his truck back, roadworthy and on time. Another great reason our first call for parts is O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day. We recently had an 09 Honda Pilot come into the shop with 169,000 miles on the odometer. The vehicle owner said the cabin was starting to smell like coolant, and he was concerned. Upon closer inspection, we found a heater core leak. Choices were to keep the vehicle and make a repair, which at best is half a day's labor plus parts, or sell the vehicle and buy a different used car that could have its own set of problems. We presented a third option, K-Seal. You've heard me talk about K-Seal before. Well, I don't just talk about it, we actually use the product in our service shop. It's a pour-in solution designed to stop leaks and help prevent future leaks. Other sealers use sodium silicate, which has a tendency to clog the system. K-Seal features ceramic technology that's designed to repair the leak without clogging. Our customer went with K-Seal, and 1 month later, no more leak. Learn more about K-Seal at kseal.com. Don't just seal it, K-Seal it.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Another lending success story from LendingTree.com.
Car dealers like playing games. They play percentage points, they play markups, but I don't like playing with my money. So I got my auto loan through LendingTree.com. I filled out one simple form, a marketplace of banks and lenders competed over it, and I got 4 offers back within hours. After all, the car buying game is a lot easier to win when you're holding all the cards.
LendingTree.com. When banks compete, you win. For additional information and state license disclosures, please visit our website located at LendingTree.com.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Let's get started. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you in part by Optima Batteries, folks, featuring, get this, 99.99% pure lead. Optima batteries will last up to 3 times longer as traditional flooded batteries. Optima batteries, the ultimate power source. You can learn more at optimabatteries.com. Your calls, the phones are jammed. Let's just take off and go to Nebraska. Mark in Nebraska, you're first up. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. How you doing?
Great.
Well, it's your turn.
My guess is the gasket.
The gasket. You would be wrong, but thanks for calling anyway.
Okay.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, sir.
So that, hey, if you don't guess, you don't win. Let's take a call from John. John with a 79 Super Beetle. John, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hey, thank you so much.
Sure, my pleasure. What can I do for you?
So the fuel pump went out, and talk a little more about that. But we replaced it,
Okay.
and you can feel it's actually trying to pump gas, but she still won't start it. We're wondering if the float got stuck in the carburetor.
Well, if it
says it's a common problem.
Well, if it did, if the float were stuck and it was getting fuel, oh, you mean stuck closed?
Yeah, and we don't know if it's getting fuel back at the engine.
Well, you got to test that.
Well, I was just curious if you had any thoughts, because you seem to be super knowledgeable about cars.
Well,
So,
duh.
like, I should check,
yeah.
Well, I should check the float valve, or I should check the fuel line.
Well,
for
I wouldn't. Well, here's a point. Here's a point. Which is the least path of resistance? To take the carburetor apart and check the float, or to disconnect the fuel line at the carburetor and see if it's pumping fuel. So the first test would be, so John, the first test is to disconnect the fuel line at the carburetor, and make sure you don't just disconnect the line at the carburetor and spin the engine over, because that's going to, if it does spray fuel, it's going to spray fuel everywhere. And if you have a weak spark plug wire, you're going to catch fire. So what you do, the proper thing to do, listen to me, is you take like a little vacuum connector or a hose, and you disconnect the hose from the or the feed from the carburetor, and put a rubber fuel line over it and run that outside of the engine compartment into a canister and spin it over. And if there's fuel there, then you know you have fuel, and if you have spark, the engine should run. So that's what I was.
No, I appreciate that, because that's what I would have done.
Yeah.
I actually tried it at the fuel pump just to make sure it wasn't clogged coming out of the fuel tank.
Yes, sir. Well, what was your second? What was your second question?
Well, because the thing actually ran out of gas. Like we would start it every so often because it needs front end work.
Right.
So we'd run the motor just to keep the oil moving and stuff.
Yes,
every
sir.
3 months or something.
Right.
But it just ran out one day, and the fuel pump felt like it wasn't turning, and it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we replaced it. But I was thinking maybe it was a clog somewhere else of it.
Well,
and then I thought, you would know. Like it says to tap on the top of the carburetor, because Super Beetles were notorious for that float valve, and they were getting stuck up there.
Yeah, but you made up in your mind that that's a carburetor problem, and I think you need to get away from that. You have made up in your mind, because you read that somewhere, that that's what's wrong with your particular car. So I want you to.
I was just bouncing it off you, because.
Well, I know, and I'm bouncing back. So okay. So John, here's the bottom line. Test the fuel system and make sure that you have fuel going to the carburetor. And then
I'll do exactly what you said.
And then it's easy to do. And then also you can take a flashlight, and if the engine doesn't start, which is not, in fact, you don't even have to you don't even have to test the fuel. Take a flashlight with the engine, of course, off, because it won't start, and the key off, and look down in the throat of the carburetor and pump the accelerator and see if you see fuel spraying into the throat of the carburetor.
Yep, I could do that.
And if you do, then you don't even need to test the fuel pump, because you know you got fuel. Now you got other problems. So I suspect you could have, a Points and condenser, or a coil wire, or what have you. But the first thing, test for fuel by looking into the throat of the carburetor, pumping the accelerator. And now, it's possible the accelerator pump diaphragm is bad and it wouldn't pump fuel, but probably not, So test it and go from there. Hey, thanks for your call.
Hey, do I get to enter that giveaway or something?
Your name is in the hat. Yeah, you can certainly answer, yes. Let's hear your answer.
I think it's the metal plate, because it's machined and has ports in it.
Well, that is wrong. But thank you for your answer. I would have thought the same. Hey, I would have thought the same thing. And I've been to the factory, so we'll go on from there. But thank you, John, for your call. And now
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. And thanks for your comments. Appreciate you. Let's go to Alabama. Jeffy, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hey, how's it going this morning?
Terrific. How about yourself?
So far, okay.
Okay, well.
Quick question.
Okay, I'm ready.
Yep, same vehicle you worked on years ago. Just had the oil pan gasket replaced last month, and the oil leak from the back of the engine fixed. So nothing is dripping now. still good.
Great.
Any lighting updates that you've noticed? I had the standard from the factory. You know, the yellow lights that everybody has from the early 2000s.
Right.
Went to the improved HIDs. Several years went by. Now I really can't remember how bright they were at new.
Mm-hmm.
But when my wife drives, she's saying, "How can you see out of this?" So I switched to LEDs. Now, have you noticed any discernible brightness comparison for headlights from HID to LED?
Well, that's two totally separate systems. I don't think that LEDs are any brighter. LEDs, now, I take that back. If you take a brand new automobile and you have 40 LEDs like a BMW, you know, they have rows of LEDs. In fact, instead of the light turning, they have different LEDs that are on and off, as the way new cars are. But LEDs are being used not only for their brightness, but also for styling. And because you can have so much light in such a small area, just like a little flashlight. Now, I've got a flashlight that's ungodly bright that it was a gift to me, and the filament, Jesse, looks the size of the head of a ballpoint pen. Yeah, it's unbelievable. But know this, for those listening in, to upgrade their car away from the standard lighting system can be challenging, and also it's not, according to a DOT, it's not approved. But that's neither here nor there, because people buy aftermarket parts and what have you. But I don't know that an LED upgrade, I know it'd be expensive, would be any better than an HID. I think HID is about as bright as you get. The problem with HID is what color do you get? Here would be my choice of all upgrades. Sylvania, this is a free plug for Sylvania. Sylvania Ultra Star lights are 50% brighter. In fact, as we speak, one of our ASE technicians, Tommy Bernardino, is out in the shop as we speak installing new headlights, and he just bought them this week. He brought them into my office to show me one, and Jesse, it had a halo. One's got a halo ring. It is way cool there for his Jeep. And so it was really interesting that you would call this morning. Thank you for your call. It's always good to hear from you. But I would say if I had a challenge with headlights, and I had dim headlights, which my wife's car, the smart car, which by the way I just bought one this week, a replacement. But her smart car is really gotten dim, and we've already done the headlight restoration, but now it needs another headlight restoration because, you know, that's just the way the polymer or the polycarbonate plastic is, but we did put the Ultrastar headlights in it, but the lens are so bad. So what are the lenses like on your car, on your GMC?
Weirdly enough, the projector for the Denali is fine.
Yeah.
The one below it with the turn signal, those replaced a couple of years ago because they have started to leak.
Oh yeah. The
lens was fine, but the water containment failed.
It does.
But the top is still clear.
Well,
so I haven't had a problem with those, but when she drives her car, which is an RX, she's got LED, so she's got a bright white beam across the road. Now, is this the new car you just got with the headlights you got to fix?
No, it's the old one. It's the 08.
Smart. This is the smart car you just got?
I haven't gotten it yet. It's in Massachusetts.
Oh, the one you got from there, okay.
Yeah, the one I have now is an 08, and she drives it as we speak. And but the 24th of this month, she's going to Massachusetts on a 4-state road trip, and she's going to fly to Massachusetts. They're going to deliver this smart car to her at the hotel, and she's going to do a 4-state trip back: Virginia, North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. Hey, gotta go, got a hard break. Jesse, thanks. Nice to hear from you. We'll put your name in the hat, and we'll come back and take another call from New York.
This Engine Care Spotlight is brought to you by Walker Products, a leading manufacturer of quality fuel system components and engine sensors. Today's vehicles are being pushed to new heights with increased fuel economy and fewer tailpipe emissions, which has created the need for a smarter and more sophisticated exhaust after-treatment system, featuring an array of sensors designed to help monitor and control the different aspects of vehicle operation and health. The EGT, or exhaust gas temperature sensor, plays a major role in multiple processes, and it's critical that the EGT is performing within their limits. But not all EGT sensors are created equal. Housing styles and materials vary, in addition to resistance types and temperature ratings. It's imperative that a consumer replace their EGT sensor with a correct OEM factory-style sensor. Walker Products has been supplying the automotive aftermarket since 1946 and manufactures all of its EGTs using only OEM-based sensors. Need a new sensor? Walker Products offers OE quality at aftermarket prices. Drive to walkerproducts.com. We recently worked on an 03 Buick Park Avenue with a 3.8 engine, and the vehicle had been a workhorse, 190,000 miles and more. That said, fuel economy had slipped from 24 mpg to 19. On cold startup, the check engine light flashed. In addition to rough idling, engine fuel trim pointed toward carbon issues. A quick scan revealed random misfire code P0300. The codes were cleared, and after a visual inspection of the ignition system and fuel filter change, we added a can of Berryman B12 Chem Tool to a fresh tank of fuel. After a 400-mile round trip and a second can of Berryman B12 Chem Tool, fuel economy was back to 24 miles per gallon and idle quality was restored. Many times, complex running issues are traced to carbon issues on today's vehicles. Fuel system maintenance starts with simple tank additives as the first step in carbon cleaning your engine. The next time your vehicle is sluggish or experiencing fuel economy that's not up to par, try Berryman B12 Chem Tool. Learn more at berrymanproducts.com. That's berrymanproducts.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Telephone
From Geico Auto Insurance.
When calling Geico to switch your car insurance, you will not need acetaminophen, naproxen, indomethacin, ibuprofen, a cold compress, an on-call acupuncturist, or any other pain remedy. In 15 minutes, you could save 15% or more. If it were any more painless, you could do it in your sleep, which is theoretically possible since we offer complete 24-hour service. Call 1-800-947-AUTO, 1-800-947-AUTO. Geico Direct, the sensible alternative.
When you purchase the latest TV, tablet, or smartphone, don't forget to do the right thing with your old ones. Recycle them. The Consumer Technology Association and its members are making recycling your old devices as easy as buying new ones. Just go to greenergadgets.org, type in your zip code, and you'll instantly find the recycling location closest to your home. You'll also find recycling tips, like asking the store where you buy your new TV if they'll haul away your old one. Don't let your old tech tools clog your local landfill. Just visit greenergadgets.org.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back. What a great program today. So much fun, so many calls, and it's just always exciting for me to answer your car questions and to interact right here on Bobby Likis Car Clinic, brought to you in part by Motorrad, your first choice for vehicle thermostats and caps. You can learn more about their products and industry-leading application coverage at motorradusa.com. In fact, an update for Motorrad, for our partners Motorrad. Now you can go to motorrad.com, and over the past 2 decades, folks, engine cooling systems have really transformed dramatically from relatively simple mechanical items into complex systems of sensors and actuators working together to what? Properly maintain the consistent engine temperature. So that said, Motorrad has launched 5 new product categories as part of their advanced engine management program. Get this, from Motorrad: camshaft sensors, crankshaft sensors, ignition coils, mass airflow sensors, and variable valve timing solenoids. Variable valve timing solenoids are not solely, but almost solely responsible for an engine's performance these days, and very critical to engine temp, engine oil, and all of those normally good things that your engine is doing, but when they go south, they can really go south. So we want to share this with you from our Motorrad partners. You can go to motorrad.com and learn about their new products that are a whole new line for a company that's been around for a long time, that does a fabulous job primarily with thermostats and radiator caps, and now into engine management sensors. Hats off to Motorrad. Let's go to New York. Jeffy, is it Jeffy? Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
From Owego, New York.
Where are you from?
Owego, right near Shangri-La Speedway, if you remember.
Are you kidding me? You just hit my heart buttons here, because folks, we built a round track racer, and then we set records in 6 different racetracks. It was a little Pinto 1600cc engine, and we ran out of places to race it, so we decided, we being yours truly, to go from Pensacola, Florida to Owego, New York. I'd never heard of Owego, New York until we went up there. And Jeffy, I will tell you this, never been treated more kindly and with more respect than all of our colleague racers that, of course, wanted to beat us, and they did, but they were very kind in doing it. So I have nothing but fond memories of Owego, New York.
Isn't that when you had a car with no brakes?
Well, we didn't know that you had to turn left. It was a flat track, and we ran on bowls, on ovals. And we got up there with a flat track, and a quick story because the phones are lit up. But my driver comes in. He said, "Bobby, there's no brakes. The brakes are gone." So we jacked it up real quickly. I took a hammer and went, and I beat on the back of the drum, which did nothing. That's a true story. And I looked at him and I said, "You're good to go." I swear I did this. I don't know what possessed me, except I wanted him to race. I said, "You're good to go." And he takes off and he goes, and he almost ran over a car. And he came back in, he says, "That didn't help at all." And I said, "Well, go figure." But it was one of those, you'd be surprised what you do in the heat of the battle. So it was my bad. It was my bad, but it was the only thing I could do to get him back out on the track. Anyway, what can I do for you today?
Well, I got a 2003 Chevy Ventura. I don't have an oil leak, but I'm using oil, and I'm wondering if K-Seal has something on the oil side of it, possibly.
They do not. They are known for their cooling system permanent repair, and that's what their specialty is. It's a great product, but it will not stop. It will not affect the engine oiling or the internals of an engine, other than sealing gaskets and blocks, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, worth a shot. Is there anything you can possibly
it's
recommend?
always worth it. It's always beat on the drum, and maybe that'll fix your oil. Hey, thank you so much for your call. I'll put your name in the hat, my friend.
Thank you kindly. And I think it's the particulate filter itself that is the most expensive part, because it's so hard to design, make, and get them in right holes to get the right sizes.
So you're saying it's the media inside?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you stay tuned. You might be right. You might not be.
Okay. We'll take it from there, Bob.
All right. Thank you. How cool is that? Next caller up is Keith from Wisconsin. Keith, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
How you doing? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
I just wanted to take a wild guess on that trivia question.
Please do. Okay.
I guess the springs.
It is not the springs, but it's a great guess. Hey, anytime you guess is better than no guess at all. Keith, thank you so much. Right. Bye-bye now.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. We'll take another call from, let's go to New York again and talk with Miss Carol, one of my favorite New Yorkers. Good morning, Carol.
Oh my goodness, you're throwing me to death by saying that. No kidding.
Hey, I'm with you.
Well, this is not why I called, but I have a story about Shangri-La.
Okay.
Back in the early 50s, the Owego is only probably 22. The track is probably 22 miles from my house.
Really? What a small world!
Yeah.
What a small world this is. We stayed in a hotel that was a red brick hotel. I forget the name of it now. But I'll never forget that, because we got there, went through tech and all those things, and we were at the lobby at the hotel, and of course all the race cars were out, and people were working on their cars out in the parking lot, and we were trying to make ours go faster. Actually, my driver was trying to make me fix it where it would stop, but we weren't prepared for a flat track. But again, it was a phenomenal, and I have to share this. as an aside, I won't just take a minute, folks. I've never seen such beautiful countryside, Carol, in my life. When I thought of, and this shows my ignorance, I guess, back then, I thought of New York, I thought of Manhattan, I thought of the city, you know. But hey, New York is gorgeous. It was gorgeous. Anyway, I'm going to turn the mic back to you.
You ought to see it in the fall.
I can only imagine. I can only imagine. So why did you call?
Oh, well, but I have to tell you the Shangri-La story.
Okay.
So in the early to mid-'50s, my father and his brother and I would go to Shangri-La because they had Sunday afternoon races, other than like other tracks would have them on a Friday night or a Saturday night, because I'm a stock car, whatever. You know, I was indoctrinated back in the 50s, early 50s. Anyway, their commercial for their track was you could wear your white shirt on Sunday because it was a paved track.
Yes. Yes.
And that was their big mantra. That was their commercial on the radio all the time about the track not being dusty.
Well, it was. I'll never forget. I know that the straightaway was very long, and then they had that number one turn, and that was where I haven't said this on air, but I actually think my driver did not run over somebody, but maybe bump somebody in that one turn, or almost did. I'll never forget that. But we had a really fast car that had a little one barrel. I took a two-barrel IDA Weber carburetor and cut it in half because that's all we were allowed here, and ran a one-barrel carburetor. And I made the intake manifold, and that car was really fast. But it wasn't fast because of the engine. The engine was just a good, solid, high RPM, little 1600. It was fast because we were into aerodynamics, because a friend of mine owned Rattlesnake Racing and was into not Formula One, but Indianapolis cars, and we did a lot of aerodynamic body way back then in the 80s. Anyway, Miss Carol, thank you so much for sharing that information with me.
My question is, what would cause plus I have a guess on the thing, on the oil filter. What would cause the car windows to get steamed up within 5 to 10 minutes of only one person sitting and breathing in the car? And it can't be as airtight as my 1960 Volkswagen was when you had to roll the window down to slam the door.
Well, you have to turn the air conditioner on, the humidity.
I've been doing that. It doesn't make any bit of difference, and it's always the rear windows, the rear window and the two side rear windows. And if the windshield steams up, you see it slowly, starting to steam up. Then all of a sudden there's a blast of I don't know what, and it steams up so fast that, and you made a comment a few weeks ago when I called, in addition to shifting and doing all these things, I'm like working all these heater things, opening this up, changing that, so I have everything that goes on the windshield, and holy cow, I don't know what the problem is, but I was going to call the dealer because they're open till noon, the mechanics service department is open till noon.
He's going to tell you, Carol, to turn on the defroster and turn the blower motor up higher.
I did, but why do I have to do it every so many minutes? As soon as I do it, then there's no heat anywhere else. Well, already there's no heat on my feet. I think we talked about this a few weeks ago, and it's ridiculous. I'm like a one-armed paper hanger, trying to manipulate all these things because many a time it just happens so quickly on the windshield.
I wish you lived in Florida where I could. Well, you wouldn't have.
I'm coming down there. I have a new car. How much in advance are you taking appointments? I'm not kidding.
Hey, believe it or not, we had Nona and Ron come in from North Carolina for an inspection. And we inspected, he wanted an Avalanche, and he finally found a used one, and they drove it 600 miles, Fabio? Yeah, it was 600 miles, and he just called, and he came down, and so now we're old friends. And we found quite a bit wrong with the vehicle, but it was a used. It had 150,000 miles on it. So be it. But he wanted it. It was red, which is what he wanted, and he got it. Anyway, you follow up and you come see us, and I'll personally build you a little duct work for your foot. I personally will do that. I'm a project guy.
I'm whatever.
Okay. I got to go.
It's an okay car, but
I
all
know.
these little amenities that are driving me nuts.
Yeah, I know, but that's what I'm here for, to help you get through the nut part. Okay.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Talk to you later.
All right.
Bye-bye.
God, see, I know these people. I know her, and I never met her, but it doesn't matter. We're going to come back, take a call from Bob, and we're going to go to Michigan, in Missouri. Then we're going to go to Michigan and get some information from Jim about driving in bad weather. And also, I mentioned to you, or actually a caller mentioned about K-Seal. K-Seal is a one-step permanent multi-purpose system for coolant leak repair, including head gaskets, engine blocks, water pumps, and radiators. It works. You can save your old car that may cost more to fix because it had a head gasket blown than it's worth by adding K-Seal to its cooling system. You'll thank me later. Go to kseal.com for more. Stay tuned for more Car Clinic. I'm Bobby Likis. Likis, you're going to love us. Talking tunes? No, not the ones on your radio. The ones that allow you to reprogram your vehicle's factory computer without even popping the hood. The result is more power, more torque, and a better overall driving experience. We recently sat down with Jim McGinn, Vice President of Marketing for PowerTech. Jim touched on some of the additional products Diablo Sport has to offer.
In addition to the Diablo Sport lineup of tuners, Diablo Sport also offers Jammer cold air intake systems and Hooker Blackheart exhaust kits. These kits work in concert with the Predator 2, Intune i3, and Trinity 2 programmers to deliver increased fuel economy, mileage, and overall performance for your gas truck or SUV.
Folks, Diablo Sports performance products make the perfect holiday gift, and now is a perfect time to buy with their holidays savings. How cool is that? You get up to 20% off SRP on their extensive lineup of premium performance products. Learn more at DiabloSport.com. That's DiabloSport.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
More than 1 million wild animals are killed each year illegally. Poaching is a major threat to our country's wildlife. I'm Tom Barry. I'm an actor with a desire to preserve living space for wildlife. The Humane Society Wildlife Land Trust does just that. Works with private landowners to protect wildlife, to preserve natural habitats. To learn more or to work with the Humane Society Wildlife Land Trust, call 800-729-SAVE. That's 800-729-SAVE, or visit wildlifelandtrust.org. Thank you.
Did you know 26 million Americans have kidney disease and most don't know it?
The day I was diagnosed, I didn't know what to do. I called the National Kidney Foundation, and the young lady who answered stayed on the phone with me and walked me through step by step. She too was surviving kidney disease, and she showed me there could be life after kidney disease.
Visit the National Kidney Foundation at kidney.org. Now you know.
We're a land of cynics. We don't believe anything anymore. You know why? Because we've been told we've won $1 million, that it's new and improved, that it slices and dices, that our favorite singer is still alive, that we'll be prosecuted if we cut off the tags, and of course that everything is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee. So when we hear the words customer service, we don't believe it. Travelocity isn't surprised if you're a little skeptical when they say they have excellent customer service, and that there's actually a pleasant face behind this website, a living, breathing person with a supercharged computer full of answers. Someone who's willing to help when you get lost, and most of all, someone that will actually pick up the phone when you call with a question or a concern. Customer service is just another example of how Travelocity puts you in control of travel. Chances are you'll never have to use it, but it's good to know it'll be there if you need it. Travelocity.com. Go virtually anywhere.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this segment. We're going to go to Missouri and take a call from Bob in Missouri. Bob, good morning. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Thank you. I would like to guess the paper-like filter.
Well, I will take that into consideration.
All right, sir.
My
question
is...
is...
Wait, Bob.
Yes,
does Hannah have your number and your information?
I gave her my phone number.
Okay, that's great. Now we're going to pass it out to everybody in the world. No, not really. Anyway, what is your question?
Here's my question, sir. I got a 2018 Chevrolet Impala V6, and it sets, due to medical problems and different things, sometimes it sets for maybe a month without being driven.
Okay.
I'm wondering, how often should I go out and start that car to keep that engine lubricated?
You should only start once a month. And you should,
once a month's enough?
Absolutely. And you should only start that car when you are prepared to let it run for no less than 20 minutes.
All right, sir.
And wait.
It's okay to let it idle for 20 minutes without driving?
Well, I prefer that you would drive it, but because it's it's an 18 car, you're not going to hurt it. And for all those folks, including all the technicians out there that think you damage a car, look at all of the police cars that sit there and idle all day long.
Yes, sir. I'm really surprised about that once a month.
Yeah. Well, here's why. Because if you crank it once a week, you probably won't dedicate 20 minutes to the running of it, and by cranking it, you induce more condensation and water in the oil and cause more damage if you don't run it long enough for it to reach operating temperature. So
understand.
So that is and I can prove this. I've got a Porsche just outside my studio here that is an air-cooled vehicle. And when I crank it, last time I cranked it, I ran it 45 minutes, because I wanted to be assured that the oil cooler, and it holds 11 quarts of oil, it's a dry sump, I wanted to make sure it got up to operating temperature, because over the years, and I restored it, and I haven't driven it since December of 04, about like 1,300 miles. I cranked it, I shut it down, and I would go out, and this is over the years, last 10, 12, 15 years here, I would check the oil, and the oil cap I replaced 3 times because it corroded with condensation. I learned what I'm talking about, and now I don't crank it unless I want to let it run hot, and I've confirmed this in the last 8 years. So if you're going to crank a car that's not driven much, you better wait until you can run it for 20 minutes to get it up to operating temperature. And Bob, I will definitely put your name in the hat for the trivia.
I hope she got my number right, because I gave it to her the area code last.
I'm going to put you back on hold. I'm going to put you back on hold just to be sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, and I love your program, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Bob. That's KREI country, folks, up there in Missouri. Take a call from Brennan. Brennan, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hey, Bobby, I just want to give you a shout-out for the K-Seal. I brought my car, 2015 Chevy Trax, into the dealer 6 times, and they could not find the coolant leak, no matter what they did. And they basically told me I was crazy. They knew it was leaking. They could smell it was leaking, and they're calling me crazy.
All right, let me tell you something.
I hear your program all the time.
Well, there's nothing like the smell of coolant. Even a small coolant leak will have that sweet odor when you stop the car and get out of the car in the garage. But anyway, back to you. I'm sorry to interrupt.
It's okay, but anyway, I told the dealer guy, I said, look, I know it's still under warranty, but will K-Seal, I mean, I've heard that this will work. I'm going to give it a try. He said it would void my warranty, so I said, you know what? I ain't got that much left on it anyway, so I sat there, I went to the store, and I got the K-Seal, put it in, and it's been a month and a half, and no leak, no smell, no nothing.
Hey, I'm not surprised, but I really appreciate you calling and updating that. And K-Seal is approved by ASTM standards. So as far as voiding of warranties, that's not the case at all. Brennan, thank you so much for your testimony. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Take a call now from Texas. Let's see, go to Jim in Texas. Jim, good morning. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hey, Bobby, really love your show. Listen to it every Saturday.
How cool is that?
Well, it's very pleasant. It's in the 50s right now.
Well, what can I do for you?
Okay, I've got a oil filter question. I've got 3 vehicles that I always change my own oil and own filters.
All right.
About 3,000 to 5,000 miles. Have over 200,000 miles on all 3 of those vehicles.
Okay.
Now, just bought a 018 Honda Pilot about a month ago. I'm due for my first oil change, and I'm going to change it next Saturday while I listen to you.
Okay.
And I'm going to, for the first time in my life, I'm switching over to full synthetic oil.
Okay.
Question is, what filter should I put on?
Wicks?
That's what I need to know.
Well, what oil are they going to use?
I've been, on this full synthetic, I'm going to Mobil 1.
That's a great combination. So you can call me back about 5 years from now and say I got 250,000 miles on my deal.
Well, believe me, I will, because I buy a vehicle to keep and to run, and that's what I've done.
Well,
and thanks for your show. Really enjoyed.
Thank you so much. Where do you live in Texas, Jim?
East Texas,
Longview.
Over close to the Louisiana state line.
Gotcha. Hey, thanks so much. Appreciate your call and your confidence. Stay tuned.
Thank you. Will do.
Okay, let's go from Texas to Michigan and take a call from Jim in Michigan. Jim, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Thanks for holding.
Okay, it's my pleasure, Bobby. Let's get right into what I was going to talk about. What happens like in the bad week of cold weather we had. Let's start with windshield wipers. If you got windshield wipers and they were running good through November, that doesn't mean they're going to run good through a bad storm. You should check your wipers first. Then, secondly, there is a winter fluid for the wipers that can stand the sub-zero weather. And if you're going to get the optimum use out of your wipers, you've got to change to that fluid, wiper fluid, to make it through the storm. And there's no other way to do it.
Agreed. Absolutely.
Wow, we're off to a rolling start today. Now, as far as the battery life on your car, my wife doesn't drive much. She's only driven 10,000 miles in the 5 years we've owned the car.
Wow.
But she's a cautious driver. She rarely gets on the expressway. And though it is recommended by many mechanics to have your car checked by then and see if you need a battery, she's a cautious driver, and they told her you don't need one right now. You'll still make it through the 5th winter. I don't think I'm going to risk it the 6th winter, but we'll say we got lucky.
I would agree. 5 years is pushing your luck with a battery, unless it's an AGM, and so I would agree with that. And what else do you have for us today?
Okay, remember to check your cables on your battery. Make sure they're tight. You don't need a mechanic to do that. You can adjust them yourself. And after you check them, make sure that they're not getting corrosive. You can clean them with baking soda. The powder is a white powder that appears, and that's a warning to you to clean them. So if you do that, you're going to ride the winter weather better.
Well, all correct and all great points. Jim, thank you so much for the cold weather report from Michigan. Always great to have you on the air.
My pleasure always, Bobby. Have a good day.
Thank you. And folks, speaking of cold weather, in the past you've heard me talk about how winter temperatures can really impact the performance of your vehicle in areas of the country, like Jim says, in Michigan, in Chicago, we're looking at the sub-zero temperature extremes. But really, it's important to use the lightest viscosity synthetic oil that really is facilitate adequate levels of engine oil flow, and that's the main thing. And our partners at the Car Care Council want to share with you a couple of things that you need to know with regard to cold weather. Number one, keep the gas tank at least half full to avoid moisture forming in the fuel lines and possibly freezing. Number two, check tire pressure, including the spare. Number three, have the exhaust system checked for carbon monoxide leaks, which can be especially dangerous during cold weather driving when your windows are closed, obviously. And number four, stock an emergency kit. Include an ice scraper, a pair of jumper cables, extra clothes, bottled water, meds, and so forth. Those tips from our partners, the Car Care Council. For more, go to carcare.org. Here's an oil filter trivia answer from Captain Jim. Our illustrious Captain Jim is a Watch Bobby Live listener and viewer. And the question was, what's the most expensive part about an oil filter? Captain Jim says, and I quote, "It's the box they put the filter in, which is the most expensive part." Bah. You know what? It's not a bad, really, it's not a bad answer. I mean, we buy brake lines from Dorman that are 6 feet long and odd shaped, but you can't ship a brake line that's a steel brake line, so they put it in a big box. So I bet you, other than the forming the line and the steel, the box would be in that case. But that is not the most expensive part of an oil filter. We're going to take one more call real quickly. Carol Carol, you have a guess for the trivia question?
Yes, we got so involved in the steaming up windows, I forgot. I was the most labor-intensive part. I picked the paper filter.
You did.
Yes.
Well, now I'm at a conundrum here because here's the real challenge, and so the real challenge is, Jonathan, thank you, saved my day here. We've had, well, I'm in a pickle. We've had 3 winners, and so
I was the guy that was the last one that said paper.
Yeah.
I was in before him, and that was going to be my answer, so I was second.
Well, actually, you're third. Doesn't matter. You're a winner. And so now, boy, my crew is going to shoot me because I've got 3 winners here. We've got Jeffrey in Owego, New York, and and he said the media, and then we had Bob, who called, and where was Bob from, Fabio? Where was Bob from?
Michigan.
Michigan, and he said the paper part, and now you said, so that's 3. So now I got to come up with, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to call O'Reilly Auto Parts and tell them I need some bling, and I'm going to personally choose from our local O'Reilly Auto Parts some bling, and I'm going to send that to you. Why? Well, because O'Reilly Auto Parts offers Wix filters, so it only makes sense that we're going to really promote our partners right there. And again, I want everyone to know that Wix is celebrating their 80th anniversary of producing fabulous filtration components, and I have been to the Gastonia plant and watched the process, and that's why I started the trivia today with regard to the media. And you are right, it is the media that is the most expensive part of an oil filter, and who'd have thunk it? I mean, really.
Well, because is it more labor intensive?
No, it's just the filtration process, and you should see that machine that folds those W-shaped patterns.
I would love to see that.
Oh, it would. Well, you should go to Gastonia. Call Wix and tell them I'm gonna. No, never mind. Don't do that.
Is that in Texas?
No, they're in Gastonia, North Carolina.
Oh, North Carolina.
Yes,
oh.
Yes. Okay, my dear, I got to go. Make sure, I'll put you back on hold. Make sure we got your numbers. And so thank you so much. And congratulations, Miss Carol. Congratulations, Bob from Michigan. And was it Bob? Fabio? Missouri. From Missouri. Okay. So Bob from Missouri is a winner. Jesse from Owego, New York. Jeffy. With 2 F's, Jeffrey, right? Jeffy. That's right. Okay. Hey, I'm just trying to do my thing here, and what a fun day. It's always. Well, be careful what you ask for. So we asked for guesses and here was the question: what's the most expensive part of an oil filter? It is the media inside the filter. Now, for those of you who guessed and there were 4 guesses that guessed the top heavy lid. The part that attaches the filter, I too guessed that was when I first got involved with filter manufacturing. When I first went to Gastonia, North Carolina, to the Wix filter plant, and I was really surprised at that. I said, that's just paper. Well, it's not just paper; it's especially processed and those sorts of things. But anyway, hats off to everyone who's guessed, and as always, it's such a pleasure to join you every Saturday. And to share with you information that you really just can't get. Where can you get this? Where can you in such a respectful, civil manner, discuss automotive topics and discuss automotive repair? And I love it when I get calls from all over the nation with regard. And Miss Carol is really a hoot from. She bought a new Subaru. Doesn't sound like she's really, really happy with it, but I keep telling her they're great cars, and she knows they're great cars because she had one before. But this one, the heater's not working, so you guys at the dealership there, you got to take care of Miss Carol and get her heater, or else she's going to come to Florida. Folks, that's all the time we have for today's broadcast. Watch Bobby live always you can go to and download podcasts. Go to iTunes, download the podcast, and it will automatically come to your phone so you can tune in anytime, and you can stop the broadcast and start it at your whim. And in other words, thank you for tuning in every Saturday from 10 till noon, coming to you live from the center of the automotive universe, which just happens to be a broadcast studio that we designed, manufactured by Acoustic Systems in the middle of an automotive service shop. I'm Bobby Likis. Thank you so much for tuning in. Likis, you'll love us. Have a great day and take care of your car. See you next week.
This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
Are your wiper blades chattering, skipping, or squeaking? Don't compromise your visibility with streaks or smearing on your windows. When it's time to replace your wiper blades, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and see our selection. We'll even install your new blades while you wait. See better and drive safer. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Coolant leaks can be expensive, with repairs costing a few $1,000s or more. And these problems often hit vehicles late in life when they may be only worth a few $1,000s. There is an alternative. K-Seal is a pour-in solution designed to stop leaks and help prevent future leaks. Older sealers use sodium silicate, which has a tendency to clog the system. K-Seal features ceramic technology that's designed to repair the leak without clogging. Learn more about K-Seal at kseal.com. Don't just seal it, K-Seal it.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Ricey Outfitters, I'm Tina. How can I help you?
I'd like to place an order.
Great. Which item?
The cotton roll neck sweater, large.
Okay. Periwinkle, Loden, or caramel?
The caramel, please.
The what?
I'd like it in caramel.
Oh, the caramel?
Yeah, that's what I said, Tina.
Actually, you said caramel when it's pronounced caramel.
Can't we just call it yellow?
No.
Everyone knows the best part of a Milky Way. They just don't know how to say it. After all, it's our caramel.
It's caramel.
Ugh, that makes a Milky Way great.
You start my morning, you stir in my soul, you warm my heart, make me feel whole. Your aroma calls me, starts my morning, happy morning. Your name is Folgers Mountain Grown, now you're here.